What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another edition of the Triple Threat Show. As always, I'm your host, Matt Fatemi, joining you back for a phenomenal Tuesday day show. Usually I do morning shows, sometimes I do night shows, but sometimes you got to mix it in with a day show, whatever time brings. But we got a loaded show to talk about. The men's college basketball championship officially in the books. Michigan are your 2026 NCAA champions, men's basketball champions. We got to go through all of that. We're going to recap that entire game. Lots of games to get into in the NBA. We saw some firings yesterday with the Bulls. We see some hirings in college basketball with some familiar faces moving over to the college basketball scene. We have a lot to get into and talk about. A little bit of NHL and MLB as well. But before I get into anything, follow us on YouTube, follow us on TikTok. We go live every single show on Boston Sports Takes on YouTube. You can find us everywhere and anywhere you get our content. But, let's just get right on into it. Because I'm not kidding. We got a loaded show to get into, and I got an interview to get to in about 45 minutes. So we got to lock in real quick. We got to lock in. And this mic, I don't know if you guys heard me, but this is my mic. But let's get right into it right off the top. Michigan and UConn. You knew that's where we were going to start. You knew that this is the story of the day. This was the number one thing to watch on TV last night. This is the number one story. It's about what Adai Murray and Yaxel Lendenberg did not do last night. It's about what Elliot Cadeau did last night with Trey McKenney and the rest of this Michigan squad. They pulled out all the stops they could last night, playing really well defensively. I literally said in the breakdown last night, Adai Murray and Terrace Reed are going to cancel each other out, period. It's going to be whoever makes shots. Now, Michigan shot like 1 of 15 from the field in the first half. What kept them afloat? Hitting 20 straight free throws down the stretch of the game in the second half. Being able to hit their free throws, playing good, clean basketball, not turning the ball over a whole lot. Yeah, they both had 10 turnovers each, but both playing really good defense. 6 steals, 6 blocks apiece for the Michigan Wolverines. Rebounding tremendously on both sides, but both sides just not being able to shoot the rock. It was a messy game. It was a messy game from start to finish. But you got to give Michigan the credit that they deserve. They literally had the game. They had the lead the entire way, the entire stretch. Late in the game, UConn did cut it down to 4 points at one point. Did have a steal. Missed. I don't remember. I think it was Solo Ball that missed the go-ahead layup that could have cut the lead to 2. Made it a one-possession game. But at the end of the day, it was always Michigan that showed up and showed out. It was Elliot Cadeau, like I said, going literally 8 of 9 from the free throw line. Trey McKenney shooting 2 for 9, but he hit some big-time shots down the stretch. Morris Johnson hitting some big-time shots, going 5 of 7 from the field. It was just a group collectively just, when you have a bad game like that, both teams playing as poorly as they did, it was their starters, it was their leaders that showed up when you needed them. Elliot Cadeau and Alex Caravan on the other side. UConn played their hearts out at the end of the day. Darren Hurley had a tremendous tournament, a tremendous game, but no one was beating Michigan this entire tournament. Nobody. I don't care who it was. Arizona couldn't beat them. Arkansas couldn't beat them. Alabama couldn't beat them. Nobody could beat them. And at the end of the day, neither could UConn. Michigan are your 2025-26 champions. And they get it done for yet another season. What does it mean for the rest of the season? It probably means UConn's probably not going to be a dynasty moving forward. We'll get to the next team in college basketball in a second here, but just the state of college basketball right now with what the president just signed with the executive order that limits transfers, limits eligibility to 5 years. It just doesn't allow for teams to really develop, even though really in basketball, players usually play a total of 4 years. Alex Caravan was a senior this year, but most players are done by their 2-year mark. Just the inability to transfer now is just it's gonna change the game. So that's where I want to start with now. I want to transfer over to what we can think of next season. And we've already seen some pieces come together as to what next season is going to look like for some of the top teams. One of them specifically being the University of North Carolina. Now, North Carolina is one of the most storied schools in basketball. When you're talking about NCAA basketball, UNC is always mentioned. When you're talking about Roy Williams, you're talking about Michael Jordan, you're talking about the entire group that's always been there, that's literally won a championship almost every single decade. Now, they haven't won a championship in about a decade, since 2016, I think. But This is a North Carolina team that is a storied team. They're a storied franchise school, and they continue. At the end of the day, they need a guy at the helm that is going to get it done. Hubert Davis could not get it done. Was a coach for UNC for 2 years for the Tar Heels. Didn't get it done. They now bring in Mike Malone, NBA champion Mike Malone, who is revered among the NBA, is revered among those top guys, like I said, Michael Jordan and Roy Williams. They played a big deal in this hire, but this is an X's and O's guy that is going to get it done when you need him to. He's one of the best coaches that we've seen in the modern era. I can't believe that the Nuggets fired him. I can't believe that another team didn't hire him for the last 10 months, but he spent the last 10 months as an ESPN analyst, goes back to the coach's room, and is going to be the next head coach for the UNC Tar Heels. That makes them, in my opinion, instant contenders. Why? A lot of players are already going to want to transfer and play for him. And when you're scouting out players from high school, just seeing that there's a guy that's won on the highest level in the NBA, coached Jokic, coached some of the best players to ever do it, and he's going to be the guy coaching your son or your kid, and he's going to be able to blossom them and get them ready for the NBA, yeah, that's going to bring guys into the building to play for UNC. This is not going to hurt the UNC Tar Heels. A lot of people say this isn't the greatest hire. This is going to hurt them. He's not a modern head coach. He's not a college coach. I mean, the really biggest difference in college basketball compared to the NBA is pace, I would say, in terms of how they play. They play with pace and space, shooting the ball. They love to shoot threes. They love to shoot, it's just like an automatic trigger for them. I understand where the argument comes from, but this is a guy in Mike Malone that's done it at the highest level. So I don't think it's going to stop them. I think this is only going to help them, and I think they're going to win a championship in this era. Maybe not the first year, but I would say maybe just like Dusty May did with Michigan in 2 years, winning a championship for Michigan. I could see him winning it in year 2, year 3, in the early short-term future for UNC. This is a guy that he's going to get it done. It is what it is, and he's going to bring players in to play for him. That's just my take. This is only going to help them, and yeah, I'm not picking them to win the Natty next year, and I'll probably have Nolan Jambor and Jeremy Lapidus come back on here and tell you for themselves. They're more the college basketball, college football, college in general guys. But definitely Mike Malone, phenomenal hire for UNC to get him in the building. From there, I'm going to switch gears over to the NBA because college basketball is over. We love college basketball. Nope, we have zero problem with it. But at the end of the day, it's not like the NBA. It's not. The level is not there. Even the entertainment. Yeah, there's been some good games, but there hasn't been a whole lot of underdog stories like there is in the NBA right now. There is a full 1-8 underdog story. Every team is getting hot at the right time. The top 8 seeds are all fighting for playoff spots, especially in the Western Conference. Let's get right on into it. Before I go into the current state of the NBA, I'm going to start with the ugly before I get to the pretty. That's how it goes. You got to start with the ugly first, get it out of the way, get the greens off the plate before you can get to the protein, The Chicago Bulls fire their vice president of basketball operations and their general manager. This is a Bulls team, another storied franchise. Michael Jordan played there. They won 6 titles in the 1990s. They had D Rose there in the mid-2010s. He brought a spark. One of the most storied franchises in the NBA, the Chicago Bulls. In the last 2 seasons, they have gone a full looking from a team that is looking to make a push, that is starting to get their pieces together when they need it most, and they actually have some young pieces, to just straight up blowing up the team. And I mean blowing up the team. 2 years ago, they trade Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan to the Sacramento Kings. At the trade deadline this year, they trade Nikola Vucevic to the Celtics. They trade Kobe White to the Charlotte Hornets. They trade Ayo Dosunmu to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Those are, at least those last 2 names that I just mentioned, that's your young talent that you use to grow and build a team around. And then you have a guy in Vucevic who's a double-double machine in his late 30s. Yeah, he's getting a little bit older, and I don't mind you trading that. But you don't trade your core talent. especially for what you got back. You got Anthony Simons back. You have Rob Dillingham over there with the Bulls. I don't even know who their leading scorer is right now. Let's go look through let's go look through this roster real quick. Josh Giddey, Gershon Yabusele, Isaac Okoro, Patrick Williams, Mac McClung. I mean, this is who we're talking about here. This is the Bulls. This is the type of franchise that they're trying to. Colin Sexton, which I don't mind Colin Sexton. He's a good player. But Trey Jones, you don't have anything to really build a team around. You just have a random assortment of guys, of bench pieces, outside of maybe Josh Giddey and Sexton, maybe, that you just have built a team around and you think you're just visibly tanking for another top 5 pick. And maybe that's what it is. Maybe the Bulls are just saying, we're shutting the door, we're cleaning house, we're going full rebuild mode going into the draft. And honestly, the Bulls have not been good for years. They trade for Dwayne Wade years ago. They traded for Zach LaVine from the Minnesota Timberwolves years ago. They even like DeMar DeRozan, they traded for him from the Raptors. Nothing has panned out for the Bulls over the last 10 years or so. Ever since the D Rose era in the early 2010s, this Bulls team has done absolutely nothing with their talent, with who they've drafted, with who they traded for. They've done absolutely nothing. They're sitting at 29-49 right now on a 7-game losing streak, going 1 of 9 in their last 10. I mean, they're visibly tanking. They fired their GM. They fired their vice president of basketball operations. Honestly, Billy Donovan's probably next, their head coach. Now, Billy Donovan was in running for the UNC head coaching job. I think he would have been a phenomenal guy for it until Mike Malone got the job. Mike Malone getting the job was obviously going to be the obvious trump card in this. He was going to take it every single time. He's the better candidate. He's the more storied guy. He has the better resume. That's Mike Malone for you versus Billy Donovan. He's going to get another head coaching job at some point. Maybe he goes back to college. But Billy Donovan is a phenomenal head coach. Any team would love to have him. He's great at developing talent. He's an X's and O's guy as well. But he's a phenomenal head coach. I would honestly love to see him in another head coaching opportunity in the NBA. Either a head coach or an assistant coach. One of those two. Maybe you can be like a Sam Cassell-esque guy, like what he is with the Celtics. Maybe. Honestly, it would be a phenomenal move for him if he could move somewhere else. Because the Bulls, you don't want to play for the Bulls anymore. I promise. It's not just because of them. It's just because the Bulls are a sinking ship. Just get off the ship. Now that we got the ugly out of the way, let's get more into current NBA. Well, we're going to stick a little bit in the ugly. Victor Wembanyama, the MVP candidate. Victor Wembanyama, second. My MVP front runner. A lot of people have him second. He goes down with a bruised rib injury last night against the Philadelphia 76ers. Get bounced around a little bit by Joel Embiid. Get a couple elbows, a couple shoulder tackles by a guy that's nearly double your frame. Yeah, that probably happened. Victor Wembanyama, though, is still going to be... He's going to come back at some point. He's only got a bruised rib. There's only like 4 games left in the regular season. He'll be back by playoffs. I'm not worried about that, especially with the Spurs getting some time off. With the play-in tournament going on, he'll get at least like a week and a half off before he'll have to really play another game, which will be obviously in the playoffs. But this is a Spurs team that can rely... That can, if he can at least come, let me change that. If he can come back by the last game of the season when they play the Nuggets, and I only say that just so he can have an opportunity to still win the MVP. When you're going MVP versus MVP, especially with what Jokic did to him on Saturday night, hitting that fadeaway jumper to ice the game, literally on Wemby, you need to get your get back on him, especially at home in San Antonio. I expect Wemby to play in that game. He'll have the rest. He'll have at least 5 days off until then, until Sunday. But I expect him to play Sunday night against the Nuggets in that game. But yeah, it's just a bruised rib. Spurs still end up beating the Sixers last night, 115 to 102. Still sitting 2.5 games back on the Thunder, who are still sitting, literally just hanging out, looking pretty in the front row seat of the Western Conference. But the Spurs are going to be around. They're still going to be there. They're still going to be playing good basketball down the stretch. he's still my number one MVP candidate, injured or not injured. He's going to win Defensive Player of the Year. His stats speak for themselves. But going to another MVP candidate, I literally just mentioned Jokic. We're going to Jokic. Jokic, numbers-wise, should win the MVP. If Jokic had not won an MVP in his career, he would absolutely be my pick for MVP. The fact of the matter is he's won 2 already, and he's going to be winning. I think he might have won 3. He's won at least 2. He might have won 3. I can't remember. But this would be his 3rd or 4th MVP, and his stats speak for themselves. First in double-doubles, first in triple-doubles, first in rebounds per game, first in assists per game, 4th in shooting percentage, 6th in plus-minus, which if you don't know, it counts all stats. Plus-minus on the floor, offensively, defensively. 7th in points per game, 10th in field goal percentage. Mind you, he's a center, not a point guard. He doesn't shoot the 3. And he's averaging 28. He's averaging literally a triple-double. He's shooting 57, 38, and 83%. 57% from the field, 38% from 3, and 83% from the free throw stripe. He's averaging 28, 13, and 11. And meanwhile, while I'm all talking about all this, the Nuggets are on a 9-game win streak. This is a Nuggets team that is, they're still proving why they are an NBA Finals contender. They're an NBA championship contender. They're a contender coming out of the Western Conference until I look blue in the face. They are a threat to the Thunder and the Spurs. Honestly, if I'm the Spurs, I don't want to see Wemby. If I'm the Thunder, I don't want to see Jokic. If I'm the Thunder, I don't want to see Jokic. If I'm the Celtics or the Pistons coming out of the Eastern Conference, I don't want to see the Nuggets, because the Nuggets are the one team with the one player on their team that can destroy whoever you put against him. I don't care who you have. Wemby, Chet Holmgren, Karl Anthony Towns, Houdini. Jokic is going to put him in the paint, put his butt in his face, and just back him into the paint and just put a dunk on him every single time. He's just going to walk him down every time. That's what Jokic is. Pause. But he just continues to play at a high level, continues to play really good basketball, and he did it again last night, putting up 35, 14, and 13. Yes, he played against Donovan Clingan, who also had a double-double, shut out UConn. But this guy continues to play at a high level, continues to carry this Nuggets team when they need him to be when they need to carry him, when he needs to carry them. And yeah, he has running mates with Aaron Gordon and Cameron Johnson, who's been a great addition to the team. Jamal Murray, who scored 20 points last night, had like 7 points in overtime. Clutch player Jamal Murray, continues to play clutch. He's going to be a pivotal piece, continues to be a pivotal piece in the playoffs. This team, yeah, we were looking at them saying they were thin. They were just relying on their top 2 guys. But when they're healthy like they are right now, coming healthy at the right time, they're going to be a threat in the Western Conference playoffs. This is a team we're going to keep our eye out on. They don't play tonight. They get the Grizzlies, the Thunder on Friday, and the Spurs to close it out. So they have to play the top 2 teams in the Western Conference before it's all said and done. We'll see if those teams do end up sitting some players in those games, specifically the Thunder. But I expect this team is going to be a buzzsaw come playoffs time. I could see them winning 12 straight, going into the playoffs. They're the number 3 seed. So whoever they see in the number 6 looks like it's going to be the T-Wolves. Good luck. And funny enough, the T-Wolves are the team that knocked them out last year. Actually, no, that was the Thunder. Never mind. 2 years ago, the Timberwolves knocked them out. So we'll see how this all goes. This is going to be a fun playoffs to see in the Western Conference. And the Nuggets and Jokic are going to be a buzzsaw come playoff time. Going through the rest of the NBA last night, we saw the Knicks and the Hawks. You guys probably saw my reaction video. I'm going to literally say it really quick. I promise I did not pre-record that. If you go to the video last night, I was literally reacting to it last night, and I said, oh, there's 1.2 seconds left, and I literally cut the YouTube video, stayed live on TikTok, and said, why not just stay live on TikTok? That's literally the first play I saw in that entire game. It was ridiculous. It wasn't the greatest reaction. I was a little bit tired, but it is what it is. I thought it was funny because that was the first play I saw. I just was like, CJ McCollum from half court just heaves it, and it goes in. Unfortunately, his finger was stuck to the ball. If there was a tenth of a second longer, it would have counted and gone to overtime for the Atlanta Hawks in Atlanta. But the Knicks do get it done on the road in a big-time win. They have pretty much solidified the number 3 seed for me in the Eastern Conference. The Cavs, proving time and time again, they don't want to win games. Not playing Donovan Mitchell, not playing James Harden, resting a lot of their players. We'll see tonight. They get the Hawks tomorrow. Well, it's not tonight. Tomorrow they get the Hawks on back-to-back games, tomorrow and Friday. So we'll see how they end up playing. One at home, one on the road. But this is a team that's really gone out there these last few games and just looked like, especially look at their injury report, injury management everywhere you look. Did not practice. James Harden out with personal issues. Hopefully he's not back at the strip club. There's not a whole, I don't know what Cleveland scene's looking like. Maybe they got that. I don't know, bro. You do you. But James Harden's definitely going to need to be out there playing his best basketball if the Cavs want to go out there and win even a first-round series. Right now they're set to play the Hawks. I said I was going to do a full conference-by-conference breakdown today. I will do that later tonight. But the Cavs are set to play the Hawks in the first round, most likely, unless the Raptors are going to have something to say about that. It just looks like what it's going to end up being in the first round of the playoffs. And I'm here to tell you first and foremost, the Hawks have a chance to beat this team. That's how good they've been playing. That's how athletic their guards are. They're good on every single level. I think the only thing they don't have is a leader on the team. And even then, you could say CJ McCollum is with his veteran presence that he brings to the team. The Hawks are going to be good. You don't want to face the Hawks if you're in the Eastern Conference. I promise you, they're the one team that has been on an absolute tear over the last 2 months or so. Them and the Hornets. And you could honestly say the Magic and the Celtics in there as well. But they've maybe outside of the top 3. The Hawks and the Hornets are those 2 teams that you got to really pick and choose your battles because you do not want to face them in the first round of the playoffs. So, going from there, I guess we'll go straight into the Hornets. Hornets face the Celtics tonight in a big-time matchup. Con Knippel, we've seen what he did 2 games ago against the Celtics. Put up 30 points in Charlotte. This game is also going to be in Boston, so that does help. But Con Knippel's going to be out there looking like his Con Knippel self, like the number 2 in the rankings for Rookie of the Year. And the Hornets have just been a buzzsaw. LaMelo Ball with 35 points in his last outing against the Minnesota Timberwolves. I don't expect that to happen again. But Jason Tatum on the other side. Shout out my boy Xavier. We're going to be talking about him a little bit because he reminded me about something. We literally haven't talked about Jason Tatum enough. We haven't. As a Boston show, I apologize that I haven't talked about Jason Tatum enough because at this point, he is literally transcending and changing the medical books at this point. Anybody, the injury that he's sustained, what he's doing right now and what he's showing on the basketball court, any player that has an Achilles injury is going to say, I want the treatment that Jason Tatum had, and they're going to follow that regimen. That's literally changing the medical books, what he's done. Coming back in 8 months and looking the way that he has. Looking like a better player, a more well-rounded player that Jason Tatum is now. I mean, you got to look. You have to give him credit. And the Celtics are automatic candidates, or not candidates, but leaders in the Eastern Conference, or front runners to come out of the Eastern Conference. They are. They're just that good of a team. They're that good of a buzzsaw of a team. And they're going to be there for a long, long time. They are. Especially with JB and JT there, with the youth that they've developed this year, going under the luxury tax. They actually have an ability to keep and retain some of the players that they've now developed this year with Baylor Shireman, with Peyton Pritchard. Peyton Pritchard's probably the most underrated player in the league right now. This guy is literally, he's had like 10 double-doubles since returning in 15 games. He's had a triple-double. He's sniffed a triple-double almost 3 times now. He's had one. He's at least another 2 or 3 more times. That's how good Jason Tatum has been. And the Hornets, they've gone 8-2 in their last 10. They're winners of 4 straight. They've literally climbed from the number 11 seed with a sub-500 record to now being 7 games over, tied with the Sixers. Tied with the Sixers for the 7th seed, half a game back on the 6th seed, and 2 games back on the Hawks for the 5th seed. They are in play for all of those spots right now as we speak. That's how good the Hornets are. So if they win tonight, that would be a crucial win for them, especially with their schedule coming up. They get the Celtics tonight, the Pistons on Friday, and then they close out in New York on Sunday night. So this is going to be a big-time stretch for the Hornets. It's a start of a big 3-game stretch. Really, it was a 4-game stretch if you want to start with the Timberwolves on Sunday. Big-time game for them. I expect them to be well-rested and very hungry for this win in Boston. On the other side, like I said, with Tatum in his last time out, had 32 points. Jaylen Brown, I expect the entire group of starters to play today. JB, JT, Peyton Pritchard. This is a team that you may most likely face, that you are likely to face in the first round of the playoffs. So this could be a first-round playoff preview tonight. I'm rolling with the Celtics in a big-time game, but the Hornets are not going to let this go easy. I expect this to be close down the stretch. LaMelo Ball, all the group, Brandon Miller, Moussa Diabate, Miles Bridges, I expect them all to be ready to go and well-rested for this game. That's probably one of my biggest game of the night, but it's not the biggest game of the night. The biggest game of tonight's slate happens at 11 o'clock. I will most likely be slumped or be watching the first quarter in my bed going to sleep. Excuse me. But tonight, it's the Rockets and the Suns. It's the Western Conference. It's the Rockets on a 6-game win streak. It's the Suns fighting to keep their playing dreams alive, trying to get their team back on track. They're 4-6 in their last 10. Yeah, they won their last game against the Chicago Bulls, but they get the Rockets tonight, the Mavericks tomorrow, the Lakers, which are the Lakers. I'm not even going to talk about them today against the Thunder. And then they actually close out against the Thunder on Sunday. So they have a tough schedule to close it out. But they're going to be in the play-in tournament, and they're going to need to be well-rested, or not well-rested, but at least get some of their chemistry back going with Dillon Brooks back in the lineup. Has not looked the same since when he started the season. Dillon Brooks at the start of the season was a 20-point-per-game scorer. He was a great defensive player. Right now, he's like 10, 12 points at best. Looking like his former self with the Rockets. Defensive guru, can't shoot the ball, can't score the basket, can't put the ball in the hole when you need him to. That's what Dillon Brooks is looking like right now, and I expect him to be back. Trying to get back to his former self tonight. This game is going to be in Phoenix, and the Rockets are still. I didn't even mention the Rockets playoff position. They're only 1 game back on the Lakers, and 1.5 game back on the Nuggets. 6-game win streak. This is a big time moment for the Rockets and Ime Udoka. Won 8 of their last 10. Hungry team. This team is going to be ready to go, rock and rolling in Phoenix. I expect them to win this game, honestly. I'm being so serious. Alperen Sengun's playing at a great level. Reed Shepherd starting to find his role. Kevin Durant is Kevin Durant. Amen Thompson finding his offensive role, still being a great defensive player. Jabari Smith, Torrey Eason, Jayshawn Tate. They still have Clint Capella. They do definitely miss Fred VanVleet, and he hasn't closed his book on possibly coming back this season. He tore his Achilles in September, or either Achilles or he has a season-ending injury. It might have been his ACL actually. But I expect him to come back. Honestly, if they can get to the second round, to the third round of the playoffs, expect the Houston Rockets to get him back. That is how good Fred VanVleet is, and how much he would mean to this Rockets team. If the Rockets can get him back, they might be creeping into dark horse territory for the Western Conference. I'm being so serious. That's how good this team would be when they have a legit floor general in the team, not a rookie like Reed Shepherd. I like Reed Shepherd, but he's a rookie, especially in the playoffs. You don't want a guy like that in that sort of position. He's a good player. He's not. I don't even think I would like Con Knippel in a starting position for the Rockets in this Western Conference. Not this Western Conference. It's too good. If it was the East, different conversation. Reed Shepherd, maybe he could do some things. West, you don't want to see it. I promise. It's way too close, way too tight. Other than that, Heat Raptors, I'm going to pick the Raptors the first of 2 games in that one. And really quick, because I do have to wrap this up. My buddy did remind me. Shout out Ramen. NHL, Bruins take on the Hurricanes tonight in Carolina. This is a game that they somehow usually win, even though they don't play well on the road. I mean, everything on the stat sheet shows that the Bruins are going to get smoked like 4-0 tonight. But Bruins actually sometimes show up when you don't expect them to. So I'm going to pick the Bruins tonight. Panthers officially missed the playoffs after winning back-to-back cups. They're not going to be back. They did get rattled with injuries this entire season. But I expect them to be back next season, but they'll be missing the playoffs this year. And the Red Sox, you get to see Garrett Crochet going up against Mizorowski tonight, two of the best pitchers in the MLB. Red Sox still sitting at 2-8, but they'll be back hopefully at some point. This is a long season, but this is the Red Sox that we're talking about. Really quick, I guess I'll do my NBA picks before I call it a show. Timberwolves, I think I went 4-1 last night. I think the only game I picked wrong was the Magic beating the Pistons. Shout out the Magic. They played a phenomenal game. But Timberwolves, Pacers, give me the Timberwolves. Bulls, Wizards, give me the Wizards. Somehow that game's trash. Bucks, Nets, game's trash. Give me the Bucks. Heat, Raptors, give me the Raptors. Jazz, Pelicans, give me the Pelicans. Hornets, Celtics, give me the Celtics, going with a lot of home teams tonight. Kings, Warriors, give me the Warriors. Steph Curry has a big night in his return. Thunder, Lakers, give me the Thunder. The Lakers suck. I'm sorry. 42-year-old LeBron James is not going to carry this team. It's not 2018 LeBron anymore. Mavs, Clippers, give me the Clippers. And Rockets, Suns, give me the Rockets in a big-time game. A lot of these games are going to be crucial. I didn't even mention the Mavs and Clippers. That's a big-time game. Clippers still trying to stay alive in the play-in tournament, and Kawhi Leonard playing phenomenal basketball down the stretch. But I will see you guys tomorrow. Well, I may see you guys tomorrow. I'm going to try to be back tonight for a conference playoffs update or full breakdown of what the NBA playoffs are going to be looking like, 1 through 6, as well as the play-in tournament. Giving you my picks as to what the playoffs are going to be looking like from 1 through 8. I'll see you guys in the next one. Till then.